Hey guys, so I watched the Color Purple remake, and I may talk about that in a later video. I should probably put something up about that now while it may be semi fresh in people's minds. But instead of talking about that, I was just thinking of something else. So, the Color Purple, the original 1985 movie, and the Broadway play, which ran I think from 2005 to 2008 in its original run, and which inspired this 2023 movie, which, by the way, the 2023 movie is not a remake of the 1985 movie. It's really more just a theatrical version of the play, and they are different. The sequence of things are different. The order in which, or how particular scenes play out, they're different. And there's more of an emphasis on the basically romantic relationship between Celie and Shug Avery, which was kind of hinted at in the 1985, but it wasn't really explored. I'll probably say something about that. But what this made me think of is I've never read the book. I've never read the book Color Purple. And although I don't talk about books very much in any of my videos, I actually, I'm always reading something. Even if I'm a slow reader, I'm always reading something. And I started thinking, when are movies better than the books? There's a classic statement, the book's better, which is true. I think what happens with books is we read a book, we create a world, and we create the ideal world which portrays that story. And the book can get in a lot more details that movies can't, and nothing can compare to our imagination. But are there cases where the movies are better than the books? And I'm going to say I can think of a few cases. First comes to mind Forrest Gump. The movie's better than the book. The book isn't a particularly good book. It's entertaining. Winston Groom, even the way he describes how he was inspired by the character Forrest, Forrest Gump is essentially an autistic man. And that's clear in the book. But you can tell Winston Groom really doesn't know anything about people with autism. And even though he was inspired by the character Forrest by a real life person, you can tell he didn't really, he really didn't bother to actually know of the person. So the book comes off as ableist and racist, and it's I thought it was entertaining, but it's not as good as the movie. And a lot of people say the movie doesn't age pretty well, or doesn't age that well. Books about people with autism, The Stranger by Camus. I'm not gonna go down that tangent. Another movie that I think is better than the book is Fight Club. I think that David Fincher made changes to the story that just make more sense. How Tyler and the narrator obtained the soap in the book is kind of stupid. Arguably, American Psycho, the movie, is maybe better than the book. The book goes into more detail of Patrick Bateman's routine. And since it's a first-person narrative, if I remember the book correctly, maybe it makes sense to go into so much detail because Patrick Bateman is slowly being disconnected from reality. And maybe that's clear when you go through pages and pages of how this man exfoliates. Still a good book, but it's actually, as violent as the movie is, the book is even wilder. So you watch this video, ask yourself, can you think of a case where the movie was better than the book? Arguably, I'll give another one. Arguably, No Country for Old Men by Cormac McCarthy. They're very similar. They're actually very similar from what I remember. I read the book, I think, 10 years ago. But the character of Anton Sugar, there isn't really much of a description of him in the book from what I remember, but Javier Bardem, the way he plays that character, it just elevates the movie. So I guess I'll go back to Cormac McCarthy. Maybe The Road, maybe the book's a little better. So yeah, can you think of cases where the movie's better than the book? Oh, and the thing about The Color Purple, I'll say that before, because I'm not going to talk much about The Color Purple. Now I may talk about it more later. I will say this, though. I noticed that a lot of people, or when I say a lot, about 4 people who watched the movie, their immediate reactions were in response to the homosexual relationship between Celie and Shug Avery, which is in the original book. And almost like, why are they putting this in here. Not like not necessarily like homosexual, but kind of like the fact that Chuck Avery was, married and I guess having a relationship with Celie. The thing that I found funny about that is that although people seem to comment on that, they did not comment on the fact that Celie in the book is being assaulted periodically or regularly by who she believes to be her father and is being impregnated by him. That's not the thing that they found upsetting. They found it upsetting that Celie was having a relationship with another woman, and they clearly cared about one another. So I thought that was funny.